lovely ladies. How are you? Welcome to Inspiring Stories podcast by Women in Business Club. My name is Raimonda and I am the founder of the Women in Business community and international events. And today I have a special guest for you ladies, Daniella Blechner. Hi, Daniella.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Such a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to give a little introduction of Daniella because she is truly a fantastic guest and I'm so excited about interviewing her and letting you ladies hear her story. So Daniella is a founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing, best-selling author and book journey mentor. She's passionate about inspiring and empowering authors to transform their stories and messages and powerful journeys into books of impact and influence. Daniella assists authors through publishing process and helps them to create, publish, and market professional books of value and significance. Over the last 3 years, Daniella has published over 60 books and has also mentored over 180 authors and delivered 21 workshops to help develop authors, some of which have been shortlisted for the National Diversity Entrepreneur Excellence Award. Daniella, such a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to chat with you today. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm really excited to be on your podcast. And yes, as you know, I love being in your group. So yeah, hello everybody.
And for those of you who are hearing this on podcast, what you can see is that Daniella has some beautiful collection of books right behind her. And I hope today she will be telling us all her secrets about publishing a book, being an author herself. Oh my goodness. So how did you start your publishing journey to start with?
Okay, wow. So how did I start? It started very randomly, actually. I mean, I always wanted to publish a book and I've always been one of these kids. I remember from age 4 being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, Daniella? And I was always very intent, I'm going to be an author. It wasn't even a question. There was no doubt. I remember always saying, I'd become an author when I retire at 40 and publish books all day at home. I did it a little bit younger than 40. So how I got into publishing my own book was that I published my first book in 2014. And I'm absolutely passionate about doing what I do. And I had this great idea for a book and it included lots of different stories from women who I had to absolutely honor. But my story is this. I did what a lot of people do, and I researched how to get published traditionally. And so, I got a book and it says, write a query letter. So a query letter is like a 3-page letter, or you send in some chapters to an agent talking about why you want to publish, who you are. Sometimes you might have a marketing plan. So I wrote this query letter, and while I wrote this, you wait between 3 to 6 months for a reply. And I was waiting. While I was waiting for a response, I stopped writing. And then all these letters, i.e. 3 or 4, came back saying, this is great, Daniella, great writing capability. However, we're looking for somebody who's got more of a platform or an audience or a marketing plan. Okay, fine. So I then decided I was going to start to tackle writing, sending my letters to traditional publishing companies, which I know you can't really approach unless you have an agent. But I thought, let me do it anyway, kind of enjoying this rejection in a really weird way. And while I sent my letters off, I stopped writing and I was waiting. And then about 3 months later, I got back one letter. Love your writing, very witty, comical, great style, really great subject. However, we're looking for authors who, have representation. And then I realized what I'd done is I used that as a procrastination method to stop writing, to wait for a response. And then I realized that I wasn't actually waiting for a response. I was waiting for validation. Someone to say, yes, this is great. You've got great writing capability and we want to publish your book. Your story matters. Let's make this happen. And I realized that if my story does matter and these other women's stories matter, I have to absolutely be in control of this myself and publish it myself. And so I did everything I could to research every different aspect of self-publishing, setting up a publishing company, marketing, promoting, and published it that way. And how I got into it, the answer to your question, was that from there, the book did really well. It's beating books like Steve Harvey, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, I think it's called. That did not help me. And so I was getting all this really positive response. So I suddenly started having all these women who've overcome amazing, extraordinary things, saying to me, how did you do this? How did you do that? Can you hook me up with an editor or a typesetter? And I was connecting people, left, right, and centre. And my profession background is teaching. I've been teaching for over 11 years. And I suddenly realised, ding, I've got a publishing company. I understand the ins and outs of publishing. Why don't I set this up officially and assist people through the publishing process and offer different services, mentoring, all the things that I would have loved when I was trying to navigate my way through the publishing process. So that's really how it came about, not because it was something that I thought about. It came about through publishing my own book and then people coming to me for help and then just putting two and two together. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see this so much with entrepreneurs trying to solve a problem that is already existing in the market, and having been through your own experience doing it, you just see the gaps and the reasons why the current method isn't working, and you're doing something different. So why is your publishing company different to all the others out there?
Yeah. So how it's different is that I love what I do. It's great to think. I hope other publishing houses do love what they do as well. But I'm absolutely passionate, and we don't publish any book. We're not, vanity publishers, and I'm very much about nurturing the whole of the author. I think there's a lot of people that I've spoken to when I offer my free 30-minute consultations, and they say, I've published a book before, and I ask them, how did it go? Well, I published it and now it's just on a shelf on Amazon. I don't know what to do with it. And that breaks my heart, because someone who's first and foremost an author, writing is my passion, it's my love. And if you put in your heart and soul in something, you want it to serve the right people and get out there to the right people. So how I think we're different is that we don't just print books, we look after the authors. All these authors here, the books that we've published over the last 3 years, I'm still in touch with a lot of them. I'm still, telling them about speaking opportunities. We help to develop authors as a whole person in terms of their mindset. If they go to one of our workshops, letting go of fears around publishing your book, helping them with marketing, promotion, getting them involved in speaking engagements. We run events as well, Conscious Dreams publishing events. We also offer book trailers, a lot of promotion, and now marketing is going to be digital and video by 2020. Apparently it's 80% of digital marketing will be video. So we're now moving into making book trailers. We also help people to launch their books as well. We do organised book launches. So we look at the whole vision as opposed to just publishing the book and, bye-bye, thanks for publishing with us. It's very much a journey, which is why I call myself a book journey mentor.
Oh, I love that. I really, really love that, because, you put so much care and love into it, and it almost like becomes a family of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a community. Yes, that's exactly what it feels like. Yeah.
So I'm really keen to know, what is, in your eyes, what is your biggest achievement to date?
Oh, gosh, biggest achievement. I thought it was writing my book. Well, first of all, it was actually, this is completely non-business related.
Yeah.
When I was 20, I went out to Tanzania. Had no idea what I was doing with my life. Had no interest in university. Was working as a receptionist in a leisure centre. So completely lost. Had so much to give and just didn't know what to do. I wanted to get into film and TV. It was really hard. So I decided to take a year out from life and go to Tanzania and teach. And while I was there, I organised a trip to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and there was about 25 of us, really bad weather, and I know it sounds really weird, I was out there for 10 months and I never got ill once. Okay, all my friends around me were getting malaria. I didn't get malaria because I found out later. I didn't take any tablets either. I've got sickle cell traits, which means my body creates an immunity to it. So I didn't get it once. But I got the flu just before we were meant to climb Kilimanjaro. So I went ahead, nearly cancelled it, but I went ahead and did it because all these kids are like, come on. I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to do it now. And I was one of 9 out of our party of 25 who actually made it to the top. And it's the hardest thing physically and mentally I've ever had to do, because number 1, I hate the cold. Number 2, on the last day of climbing, we had to wake up at, they woke us up at midnight to climb in the pitch black darkness, and the weather was so bad, and I was quite hungry and ill as well. So by the time I got to the top, I was like, this is amazing. I want to go down, and I will never do this again, but I will never forget it. So that was my biggest personal achievement. I think
Wow.
My biggest achievement in terms of the company is it's like climbing a mountain really as well for me, this whole thing. And I can't see the peak yet because I'm not there. I'm still going. So it's just climbing this entrepreneurial journey of, creating conscious dreams. And when you read out the bio, over the last 2 years we've published over 60 books, I've mentored over 180 authors. That just in itself, to me, I think that's got to be my biggest achievement, because that's 180 other people who are then going to go on to help other people with their story and their journey. So I'm going to say those two.
Of course. Oh my God, I love the story. I hope I get to climb a mountain like that one day.
Yes, you will.
And I love how you relate it to entrepreneurship, because it is like climbing a mountain. And I don't know what the top looks like, and if we ever reach the top and say that is it, I'm right at the top of this journey, but it's definitely feels like climbing a mountain sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
So what motivates you to keep going on a daily basis?
Oh gosh. I think it's thinking about I work with women and men, but most of my clientele are women. And it's just when I speak to so many people who offer free 30-minute consultations. So during that time I get to hear some of their stories, and one of the main questions is, what is your why? Not necessarily what is your book about, but why are you writing this book? And when I'm listening to their stories and listening to what they've overcome, and listening to where they were and where they are now, climbing that mountain, and then also their passion behind, most of the time they want to really help other people, empower other people who share in their journey. So it's listening to those women and realizing that, especially big on the other side of trying to get through the publishing journey, and you're looking at these companies that are charging an extortionate amount of money for just printing a book, and then you've got a plethora of information that it's difficult to sift through, especially if you're not that interested in publishing. You just want to write, and maybe you're not even a writer, you just want to get your story out. So I understand how easy it is to freeze and stop and not actually do anything with that at all, not climb that mountain. So I think what spurs me on is remembering some of these stories, and listening to some of these women and how much they really need that service and that help. So I've got to doesn't matter if I'm feeling tight, it's good to get the balance, but that's what keeps me going. So I don't really have those days where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't see any point. I can't. I just can't. That's what keeps me going.
I love that. Fantastic. Your passion just comes through in how you speak about it. And I think that's so important, to have that passion, in your business and your journey, and that will always, always keep you going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's one of our top 3 values, actually. So it's integrity, passion, professionalism, communication, and excellence. And there's 2 more, but I need to remember them. That's the top 5.
So what would you say to someone who is thinking about publishing their book or writing a book?
What I would say is to think about, first and foremost, why are you writing that book? Sometimes I speak to women and they want to just get their story out. Maybe we never really heal completely, but sometimes I speak to women who want to just share their story because they need to get it out. So it's being able to discern between, am I writing this for me, as part of my healing journey, or am I writing this because I'm writing from an empowered place and I have a message and I have something of service for someone else. So first of all, just being really clear about that. What I would say is, if you really feel you have a powerful story and a message, or perhaps you're an entrepreneur and you've got a plethora of information about your field, and you can just repurpose things that you've already got and put it into a book, but you've got that fear and doubt, what I would say is, don't ever allow fear and doubt to hold you back. They are an illusion that we create to keep ourselves safe. And if you absolutely, by hook or by crook, believe that your story or your book or that your expertise can help somebody else, and seek out an expert like myself, book a free 30-minute consultation, and really go for it. We really only have one shot at this life. And okay, so there was somebody that I had a consultation with, which was based in Australia, and this was about 3 or 3.5 years ago, and she really wanted to write a book. And I saw on social media, sadly, we did a really great conversation. It was a really good idea. And I saw on social media she'd passed away, and somebody had written, "Oh, I hope you got to publish your book." And I looked through all of our sort of exchanges, and I realised that she'd sent me like a Word document. So I let her family know that this is the Word document, this is what she wanted to do. But it absolutely broke my heart, because how many people are out there who are really passionate about, it doesn't have to be writing a book, it could be setting up a business, creating an invention, it could be, I don't know, traveling, these hopes and dreams that we have. Life isn't finite. At some time, we're not going to be here. So just use the time that we've got on this earth to do those things that we really want to do. And if writing a book is one of them, get it done. Just get it done.
Yeah. Did she end up publishing that book?
I don't know, because it was very recently, but I let the parents know that she sent me a Word document in our Facebook messages, which they've got. So I'm sure if and when they're ready, they can choose to do or not do whatever they want with it. But I hope to see it out there, because it definitely is a book that I think would help a lot of people.
Yeah, fantastic. I want to ask you, what is your biggest lesson in business? Because obviously, it's not just about publishing a book or being a publisher. You're also an entrepreneur. You've started a business. So what are your biggest lessons in business?
Oh, gosh. Okay, I'll give you top 3. Number 1, I'm going to relate it back to your event, actually, Women in Business, where I was asked to speak about self-care, offer some self-care tips. My gosh. If you're watching this and you're a woman, we wear so many hats. We're CEOs of our companies. We are mothers, some of us, children. We're wives. We're sisters. We're aunties. We're teachers. We're everything in one. And we've got so much to balance. So my number 1 is take care of yourself and know what it is to take care of yourself. So I've had, I think I said this in your group as well, over the last month, I've really just decided, right, I'm going to focus on my health as well, on my fitness and my level of enjoyment in life. So I have, over the last 4 weeks, twice a week, gone to Zumba and Body Balance. I've also had a really nice day at a spa. So it's just not feeling guilty about taking that time out for yourself. And because when we're first starting our business, we feel like we've come out of a job to create another job, and we're working on it endlessly, and there are no hours. And if you're like me, you're passionate about what you do and very hardworking, you can end up first thing in the morning on your phone, responding to messages. Don't do that, not good. And doing it till late at night. Have clear boundaries and look after yourself first, and really learn. Do we ever create balance? No, but we can create, balance. We can create a happy equilibrium, I think, where it's not just all about work. We have those cut-off times. That's the first one. The second one is value what you do, value your service, value your product. When I first started, I was doing everything. I had a very small team, and it was taking up a lot of hours. But because something to me seemed easy, I was really devaluing it. When I think about the prices now, I'm just, we have to start somewhere. But never again. It was a great learning curve, because I realized, wow, I've got to have about 12 of these in order to do this, and I've got to do, and then you realize how much time actually you spend on the phone responding to messages. And don't underestimate the value of your time and the value of your product and the value of your service. Really important. Get that pricing right, and test it out on the market as well. Be really clear about who your clientele is as well, and make sure you research them. My other top tip, my other biggest lesson, is to build a team. Like I said at the beginning, I was doing my social, I still do a lot of my social media, but I was doing all of my social media platforms. I was doing proofing. We have professional book editors, but I was kind of doing readovers as well. I don't do proofing now. We've got a specialist editor who does that. I was going out doing speaking engagements. I was going out, networking. Obviously, there's no one else that can do that except for you as a business person. But I was literally doing everything, and I just didn't feel things were ending. There was no end to it. And so I first put out a cry for help on Facebook about 2 years ago, asking for a VA. And, Claire, lucky who, I know she works with you, responded to the advert, and she's been an absolute blessing. And it made me realize the importance of building a team, but building a team with people that have very similar or the same values as you in your business. So she relieved me of a lot of work in terms of writing copy, blog writing, doing the social media scheduling. So it's just finding out, what are your skills, what could you delegate to somebody else, or what, how are you going to build that effective team. So self-care was my second one. I forgot my second one. First one is self-care, and the last one is to build a team.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Being aligned with your team and sharing the same values as well. So important. And I have truly found that if your team shares the same goals and values, it really changes everything. So totally agree with that. So you have been in women in business community for a while.
Yeah.
So I just want to find out, what has been your experience as a member and being part of the community?
Yeah, it's amazing. I first found out about women in business through Claire, actually, and then you kept popping up everywhere, and I was like, this looks really good. And so I came to the first event, in the summer event, wasn't it? In July? Was it July or June?
June, yeah.
Yeah, June. Wow, that's gone fast. And it's just the amazing community of women there. The speakers, first of all had something of value to offer. But again, what I loved was they weren't just talking about, this is my service, this is what I do. They were talking about values. They were talking about looking after self. They were talking about being of service, which are all values that I share as well. So it was the speakers, the quality of speakers, the amazing network of women you have, all at different backgrounds, different stages, different ages, different businesses, all there for the primary purpose of connecting. What I love about being in the membership group, because of course I became a member after my first experience, is that you get some really good online training. Obviously, I've spoken with you, Raimonda, about Instagram. I did not want to do this. I've got Facebook, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Twitter, I've got something else. No, it's just so. That was enough. I've got a Facebook group, and then I had Instagram, and I was just uploading random pictures here and there whenever I had time, not really understanding the strategy or mechanics behind it. And I spoke with you, Raimonda, and I said to myself, right, I'm going to make a commitment to just tidy this up and really work on my branding, which I did. I got some lovely templates made too by Claire, and now my Instagram is going really well. So again, and it's only been since July that I spoke to you. So the online training you get, the connections you get, getting to do podcasts like this and hearing from other women as well. Just some of the benefits from being in women in business.
Oh, thank you so much. And, seeing your journey and just little things, sometimes it's just those little touches that you need to just change and learn from others and connect with other women and see the perspective. Sometimes changes everything. I know for myself, from having few conversations with certain women that would give me their opinion, their view, it can really change the game for you. So
completely, sometimes it's just that little tweak. And I think definitely as women entrepreneurs, we can feel quite isolated and lonely, and we are social creatures. I think we're social by nature, most of us, and so I think it's important to listen to other people and hear good practice and share good practice. And again, like you said, just hearing little things and, I can tweak my business here. And those little things can make a massive difference, I think, as well.
Yeah, for sure. So how would you describe your experience as a guest at our event and also as a panelist? Because obviously you've taken a stage at our event as a speaker. So what was your experience of that?
Yeah, well, that was my first experience. So the first event that I went to, I actually spoke at as well as a panelist. I think, I've been to a few events where I haven't known anybody, and so obviously I knew one person there, but I wasn't familiar with the platform. So it's the first time kind of going there and not knowing anyone really at all. By the end of it, I just felt like I'd really good friends with a lot of the women there. I've known them forever. And I think what was beneficial was just the love and care that you put into the event. You know, I'm a very detail orientated person, so it's down to the goodie bags, to the green room. We had the speakers upstairs, and you know how everything was laid out, the beautiful cakes and the balloons, and you know how you mentioned your sponsors. And you know, I think that's again a really important value and important thing to have. And I noticed things like that.
Yeah.
As a speaker, I mean, again, it was great also to meet and connect with other women, but as a speaker, it was really good to speak amongst 3 other women who had a plethora of experience, working in different fields, offering different points of view, perspectives. We were talking about how to create balance, if we ever do, you know, as a female entrepreneur, and offering advice. There was a self-love coach there as well. She was lovely. And it's just meeting these people and hearing from different people, and we got a chance to speak to a lot of the audience with our Q&A at the end. I've actually had quite a few consultations with some of the ladies who were asking questions, and from there I've come into your group as a member. So it was a real snippet into what it was like to be part of Women in Business, and then obviously with the added value of being able to speak, which helped me to connect even further to the women in the group, to then taking it to become a fully blown member, which is you know, a great experience. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you part of the community, and obviously speak as well, because you know it's so good to have these opportunities to do things online, and you know being able to do this either for YouTube or podcasts or Facebook. But I think those experiences where we get to meet in person and you know feel each other's energy and connect and hug and touch and feel, you know, it's so different, because you really get to know who the person is, you know, not just through a video.
Or like a profile picture that you see.
Yeah. And, you know, you always kind of connect with that person profile picture, but you kind of want to feel the energy as well. You want to know what the person is like in real life. So for ladies obviously who are thinking about publishing their books, and upcoming authors, how important is public speaking and visibility for them?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because like I said, when I speak to a lot of women who've published before, I've asked them about their journey, and they said, well, I've just published a book and it's on the shelf and nobody knows it's there. Well, why don't they know it's there? Haven't done anything about it. It's a lot of it is knowledge, but also some of it is, some people are, you know, a fear of being visible. But I think it's important, if you yourself as an author, because lots of people who write under pseudonyms, if you don't want to be visible, your book absolutely has to be visible. But you know, ideally, you as an author want to be visible, because that's who you know, that's who your audience are drawn to. It's you and your why and your message, especially if you're writing a self-development book or you're an entrepreneur. People need to connect to you, and know that you've got that credibility and know who you are. So visibility is so important. You know, doing Facebook Lives, you know, I've had a lot of business through Facebook Lives. I hated doing video and all of these kind of live interviews, but when I published my book, I found all these opportunities were coming to me. You know, podcasts, radio interviews, speaking at this event, speaking at that event. I had never really spoken. The only time I'd spoken was, you know, in an assembly at school, or you know, as a school teacher, you speak every day in front of, you know, young people, don't you? And suddenly I'm like speaking at events. So, and it was quite, I'm glad I got the skill set of being able to speak as a teacher, because, you know, transferring onto stage, it wasn't as scary. It was scary, but it wasn't as scary as not having ever spoken again. And because I'm passionate about what I was speaking to, I felt that came through more. So it's just letting go of that fear, speaking from the heart. That took me a while to get there, because when I first started speaking, I was writing down every word and I've got to memorize everything and be perfect. And that was stressful. That wasn't good. So, you know, just know the importance of being visible. So whether it is doing speaking engagements, doing those radio interviews, getting press coverage, you know, getting your book into retailers, promoting, marketing, using social media. It's not as simple as, you know, just publishing a book. It's thinking about, even if you're not doing all of those things, choosing 3 of those things that are going to really work for you in your book is absolutely imperative.
Oh, that's fantastic advice. And you know, Yes, the book will spread your message, but also you got to be spreading the message about your book, which is the core.
Exactly.
People finding out about it.
Yes, people need to know. People need to know you're there.
I love it, Danny. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
I haven't been.
Thank you so much. Well, I hope we get to do this more often and we'll get to do more events and travel the world, spread beautiful
Yeah.
messages and, mentor so many other authors. So ladies, if you do want to get in touch, how can ladies get in touch with you if they are interested in following up?
You can find me. Our website is www.consciousdreamspublishing.com. You can also book there for a free consultation. You can find me on Facebook under Danni Blechner or consciousdreamspublishing.com, Instagram, consciousdreamspublishing.com, and Twitter, Dreams Conscious.
Fantastic. So ladies, if you are thinking about writing a book, get onto a journey of, learning about it and learning from the best and connecting with other authors through your workshops, through your training. I know definitely I'll be attending one of these workshops soon. And
Yay!
yes, I love your ethos and values that you have in your business. And I think that's what makes you as a publisher very different, because it's quite daunting, when you're writing a book and you want to get it out there, you have an important message to share, and it can feel really, really daunting to reach out to publishers. So it's really nice to find someone who is relatable and, you've been there yourself, you know the journey. So I think that's what makes your company very different to many others.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've really enjoyed this podcast. And like I say, if you're thinking about joining women in business, go for it. It's a fantastic opportunity. And there's so many amazing women as well and lots of value.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, ladies, I hope you check out other podcasts by some of our members and our community. I hope you enjoyed this session and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.